folks. Welcome back to the Straightforward Farming Podcast. I'm your host, Tony Reed, alongside Nick McCormick. Nick, people have been begging for us to get back on the air.
I know. They don't understand. We've got bigger fish to fry.
I know.
We got a 40, 10, 20 that needs love.
Exactly. That's exactly right. This has been a busy summer for me so far.
Yeah, I hear you. I was supposed to have all this extra time with not tractor pulling, and it's been the busiest summer I've had in 5 years, it seems like.
I know. Same here. So, yep. So we're finally back on the air. Everybody can calm down now. We're going to try to crank a few of these out. Everybody's all worried what they're going to do this harvest with no podcast to listen to. So
yeah, we'll try to get it in gear here and catch it back up.
Yeah, exactly. So, God, this weather's been miserable, ain't it? Absolutely awful.
I hate to complain about the heat because we've been getting a lot of rain out of it, but man, it's sultry and humid and hot and hard on a fat guy.
Yeah, this is August 7th, I believe today. No, August 8th. And so far, I'm sitting at 8 inches of rain for the month, and it's storming outside right now. May get a little more. We missed this one. It went just south of us. I've had reports of upwards of 2.5 inches of rain just south of us, but we didn't get that here. Enough to wet the sidewalk thus far, which is fine. We don't need any. I mean, it's plenty.
I'm good for a while. We got some at the farm today, but
yeah, we got plenty of moisture. Beans are still standing good. You know, you get one of these pounding ass rains, and they're going to be flat. So I would just as soon, in fact, really, we could make it another 2-3 weeks, get a little shower then, and that's really all we need.
Yeah, probably so. But I'm never going to complain about rain in August because normally we don't get it. So.
Yep, same here. I'll take whatever. I just hope it gets dried up a little bit coming into fall, you know, where you can actually take a little water if you do get a shower in the fall.
Yeah, so you can get the trucks in the field and all that. That gets to be a pain if you can't.
Yep, exactly. So you've had a project going on. You dug the old International Scout out.
Yeah.
Going to get that on the road.
Yeah, got it out and got her cruising up and down the road there over the weekend. So
that's what, 79 International Scout, the original SUV.
Yeah, I know you suburban guys are going to say, they had them way before. There's nothing sport nor utility about the early Suburbans.
That's right.
Okay? So the original SUV, International Harvester. If you don't like it, too bad.
Yep, exactly. So what your plan is someday, maybe kind of start restoring it a little bit, not like a full restoration all at once, just kind
enough stuff to make it drive and the way I want it, etc. I probably won't get super carried away, but you know how that goes sometimes.
Yeah. You've probably owned that thing 20 years now, ain't you? I mean, we were fairly young when you had that. I mean,
I've had it since I was in college.
Yeah.
So I drove it to college some.
Okay, yeah.
You want to get some funny looks, show up at the University of Illinois in a Scout.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people. Pretty much the only one on campus that'll have that.
Uh-huh. I bet there'd be a lot of the younger crowd on Farm Talk that have never been around Scout, been around one. Yeah.
My wife didn't believe me. I drove it up there. I'm like, oh, it was awesome because it turns really short and it parks easy. It's so much smaller than my pickup truck at the time.
Sure.
Like you could go anywhere in it and you can put it anywhere. Plus, it's super loud and it's super fun to drive.
Exactly. So. Yeah. I didn't realize that thing was geared like it was. You said that thing will run
easy 50 in first. Yeah.
No kidding.
Super handy. Just what you need for a vehicle that's not safe to drive over, 50. Yeah. Those never did drive all that well, but there's companies that make stuff now to fix that. So that is pretty high on the priorities.
Yeah. Isn't it amazing? So like I've run into this on the restoration on my tractor here. You know, when we were 20 years old, not that you couldn't get parts, you could always go to Sykeston if you needed a fender, a hood or whatever. But like nowadays you can just jump online. If you want a hood, you can buy a hood. I mean,
you can build the whole tractor from a catalog if you really want to. Yeah.
Exactly. We never had that luxury when we were younger doing stuff like that.
No, there's several good companies that have lots of parts for Scouts. I'd like to put fuel injection on it, but like the rest of the world at the moment, it's on back order.
So,
yeah.
But
that would be nice not to have to jack with carburetors. I'm not much of a carburetor guy.
Yeah. Yeah, and truthfully, you just don't see Scouts, period, on the road.
They rusted out so bad that most of them got crushed years ago. But this one's actually, I won't call it rust-free, but it's pretty solid.
Yeah, it seems in pretty good shape, from what I remember. But
yeah. Like I said, I've had that since probably 2000, 2001.
Yep.
Well, I probably had at least 20 years now.
Yep, the original SUV. Did they ever make a diesel Scout?
Yes.
Did they really?
Yeah. Almost all 1980s were diesels. Not all of them, but most of them.
Now, what motor was that?
An SD33 Nissan.
Really?
Yep.
I'll be damned.
And you better hang on to your hat. They were super fast.
Really?
No. You could pretty much light a cigar and have it down before you could get to 55.
No kidding.
They were not. I mean, some of them were turboed. Maybe all of them were. I don't know. The one I had for a while was turboed. It did not blow your socks off.
Yeah.
They had close ratio transmissions for them, if I remember right, because the jump was too big from third to fourth with no more power than they had.
Yep.
Since they were discontinuing them in 80, they had a bunch of those motors,
right,
which is why most 80s were diesel.
Gotcha. Yep. You know, that's funny, too, because like a lot of these, once again, the younger crowd probably wouldn't realize, you know, nowadays, if you wanted a diesel car, your only option is basically a Volkswagen. I'm talking in a car, right? I mean, I don't know that, but your brother had what, a Cutlass?
Yeah, I had a Cutlass Supreme
diesel
with the illustrious 5.7 diesel on it, 350 Chevy on diesel.
Yeah,
I remember that. Which was a great plan as well.
Yeah.
Those were badass. The only thing about that car is you'd never get stuck.
Yeah.
Because the exhaust come out right behind the tires in the winter anyway, in the snow. So if you let it run long enough, it just continually melt the snow. So as long as you could back up 6 inches at an hour, I mean, you eventually you could get out.
Yeah.
As long as it would stay running.
Yeah, that was a gray one. I remember that.
Yeah.
Yep.
My brother's eyesight wasn't real good back then. So he'd pull out to pass. Is it clear? But it's got to be clear for like a mile and a half.
Right.
How about you ask me before we get over there?
Yeah.
Maybe get some glasses, contacts, whatever.
Yeah, we need to find one of them nowadays. Put a big turbo on it, some straight pipes, roll coal with the old Cutlass.
I don't want anything to do with a 5.7 or a 6.2 or a 6.5 Chevy diesel. Nope, I'm good. I had enough of those in my younger days. I'm good.
Them old 6.2 Chevy diesels, my God, they were the loudest, clangingest, bangingest motors. Jesus.
Yeah, a lot of noise and going nowhere.
Yep. Them fucking things couldn't have had 85 horsepower. I mean, they were nothing.
Your neighbor and our fourth grade teacher had had half-ton ones of those forever.
Yeah, forever.
Which they did get good mileage. And that little half-ton, it wasn't a little bad package as long as you knew you weren't going to do any actual work with it. Like just driving around, they weren't terrible.
Yep. But God, you hook onto something, them things wouldn't pull the hat off your head. They were gutless.
No, and that one would get all gummed up on her because she just idled it to school every day. So about once a year, her husband would bring it in to Dad. And he's like, all it really needs is ran hard, so we just lock it, and it was 4-wheel drive. Lock it in 4 low, run it wide open, down the road and back, half a mile and back, and run fine again.
Yeah.
It just needed, and smoke to beat the band. It had carbon blowing out of that thing left and right. And that's all it needed. And, just idling for a year would gum it up some. So.
Yeah, it's a shame you don't see them old trucks on the road anymore. Like even when we were younger, of course, as time goes on, that stuff goes away. But I mean, I couldn't tell you the last time I met a 79 Ford truck on the road. I mean, it's been forever. And I don't know if cash for clunkers ate a lot of that shit up back in the day too, or
I suppose. And they're halfway valuable now. So if a guy's got a decent one, he's hanging on to it, or he's got to park somewhere, because they're always in the process of doing something to them, Yeah, I did love that body style though.
Yeah, them was a good-looking truck.
Yeah, for sure.
They went downhill from then on.
Yeah, I like the 80 to 86 body style as well.
Well, yeah, that's what your brother has, ain't it? Yeah, them are neat.
I like that body style too. It had a lot of room in them, a little bit more creature comforts, just enough, But oh well, it's all getting hard to find now.
Yeah, which, granted, it's kind of like old tractors and stuff too, though. You sat here and you talk, about how cool they are. And I'd like to drive one of them again. And after you get in one, after about 30 minutes, you're like, well, it's not quite as nice.
I'm not really dying to drive to South Dakota in it.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be fun, take town once in a while. But
the thought of having to drive one of those thousands of miles in one trip, it's like,
oh, God.
I don't think my back can take that anymore.
Yeah. And it is amazing how much motors have improved. Because when we were kids, a 6.9 diesel, you're like, oh my God, these things are the greatest. Yeah. Now you get in one, you're like, this thing has zero horsepower.
These things are a dog.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I hear you there.
Yeah, if you had a 6.9 with a turbo, you were really shitting in tall cotton.
You were something. Yeah. Whopping 11 pounds of boost. You're really a badass and wanted to risk it. You could go to 13.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that's just like this M&W turbo, that I put on my tractor.
Yeah.
I don't know if a lot of people on TikTok realize what this M&W kit was, it was big for its day.
Yeah.
But like this tractor here, you're not going to hear much turbo whistle. I mean, you'll hear some, but it's not going to sound like a 4640 John Deere. I mean,
in some parts of the world, it would be called an altitude compensator, basically.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Get a little bit more air in there, but not a lot. Basically, it just makes them sound way better than, because NA tractors sound like crap.
Right, they do, especially with a straight pipe. It's just kind of a loud.
Yeah, tinny. And
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's coming right along on the old restoration. Got her primed today. Should be shooting some green paint on it tomorrow, and hopefully, if everything goes okay, have it completely wrapped up, done by the weekend, tires and everything on it, and done. So
sweet. Good deal.
I do need to bring that down after I get it done. I've had a couple people message me and say you're supposed to advance the timing to 15 degrees on them after an M&W turbo. And I've noticed on this one, if you're at 1,000 RPMs or above, you'll never know it. But at an idle, it's almost like it's fluttery, like it is. I don't know if it could be the timing or what it would be, and it's not bad. You got to kind of listen for it, but it's not a smooth run. It's kind of jumpy or something, you would say.
Does smoke any when you got it revved up? Just no load on it?
It
sound like it's under load or anything?
No, not really. If you first just crack it, it'll puff black and then a little bit of white,
Yeah, but just sitting there at a constant RPM, it's fine.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I don't know. And it may not be nothing. That's the thing on them too. Straight pipes, it's almost like you hear more than what you should. You hear every little detail in that motor, and it may not be nothing. But I thought I'd bring it down and have your dad look at it.
No worries.
But yeah, I'm ready to get this thing done.
Yeah.
I don't know how many hours I would have in this thing, but I've worked on it basically nonstop since about the 28th or 9th of June.
Yeah.
Damn near 7 days a week.
Yeah, it adds up after a while.
Yeah, it does. It's fun to do. I mean, I wouldn't want to do that for a living. I mean,
no,
but it's fun to do one that you're
like any of that stuff. It's fun once in a while, but if you do it every day, then it becomes work.
Yeah, the painting, that's the shit that I like the end result, but I don't like doing it. So just like this one, I spent, 7 hours yesterday washing on it, scraping, thought had everything off. Then you crawl in there today with the paint gun. You're like, damn it, you'll find a spot that's the size of your pinky nail that's clear down by the drawbar, which ain't gonna matter. But
it's still there.
Yeah, it's like, how the hell did you miss that? But and the bad part of them old tractors is your eyes play tricks on you after a while, because when you're using the pressure washer, you've actually took the paint off in a couple of places.
Yeah.
Well, then you can't tell the difference between that and a little speck of grease, because it's all dark looking, and so you kind of chase your tail. But I've said all along, this ain't a show tractor. I'm just, getting a good coat of paint on it and call it good. So
yeah, no doubt. Guy can get carried away on some of that. Then you're scared to use them.
Yeah, and you'll have 40 grand in one if you ain't careful, and it's getting to the point I've got other shit to do. Harvest is coming. It's time to move on.
Yeah, exactly.
Got bigger fish to fry. So, but any of the spots that's really going to catch your eye are all good. I mean, like the spots where I found a little dab of grease was in a little pocket, a cutout where a bolt can go in clear down behind the battery box that you're never going to see.
Yeah.
So I'm not too concerned about it.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
I'm sure somebody on TikTok would bitch, but that's all right. So
got to give them something to complain about.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. So you keeping up with the tractor pulling circuit now that you're out of it?
Yeah, I still keep up with it all the time. I watch the live streams or check in with my friends, whatnot.
Yep. Now, is your old tractor going down the track, or
I don't think he's had it out yet.
Really?
They've been in the middle of a drought, so they've got a lot of irrigation stuff. So I think they've been busy. Trying to keep on top of that. So I don't think they've really had time.
I don't know. I assume there's probably been a fair amount of tractor pulls around here rained out, ain't there? I mean, with
there's
the forecast
been a few. Yeah. Which is a good problem to have, I guess.
Yeah, it don't bother me. That's got to be nice, though, when it was as hot as it was today, not suiting up in a fire suit and wandering around a fairground for a while.
Yeah, I hear you. It's way easier to watch the live stream. It takes me about 30 seconds to get to bed from my living room. So.
Air conditioned the whole time?
The whole time, yeah.
Yeah, so. Did you see California has brought out cash for clunkers for farm equipment?
That's what you were telling me. That is absurd. Nope. Once again, why don't we cut that shithole off?
I agree.
Can we call Mexico and give it back to them?
Yeah, I'd be fine with that.
I don't understand why we continue to cater to those morons.
I don't either.
Once again, I'd have them rickshaw that shit from the border. Here you go. We're not sending. If I was engine companies, car companies, we're not sending you anything.
Yep.
You want something, you got to drive to Nevada and get it.
Yeah, I agree. Yep, we're not doing business with you guys.
Just think of the money that's been pissed away on just printing that stupid Prop 65 warning on literally everything you buy.
Yep.
Can we just post it in a newspaper that everything you touch may or may not cause cancer?
Yeah.
And let's quit printing all that stupid warning on literally everything you buy.
Yep. Yeah, it's funny how that shit adds up. I don't know. You'd think that state would finally burn down eventually. I mean, that's all we hear about is the California wildfires. It's like, every year they make such a big deal. Oh, there's 3 million acres burned up. It's like, well, how many fucking acres? I mean, when are we going to get the whole thing burned up?
Well, part of that is because the dipshits don't do controlled burns like they used to or like they should. It gets out of hand and, whatever.
Yep.
Sodom and Gomorrah. Maybe they're trying to burn it down on purpose.
Could be. Yep. What a joke.
Yeah.
So what else is new this summer?
Nothing super exciting. Got Dad's old 69 Dodge Charger out the other day. It's been sitting for a long time, so we broke it out. It was good to hear it cackle again.
Oh.
It's always
yeah, he bought that new when he was 16, 18 years old?
Nah, right after he got married, so he'd have been 20.
Okay.
20, 21. Yeah. Yeah, so it always loved that car.
Yeah.
Rides nice. That's good.
For those of you that don't know what we're talking about, his dad's got a 69 Dodge Charger. It's a, what'd you call it, like a pea green color?
It's like a mint green.
Yeah, and there was even fewer of them made.
Yeah, I think Dad always acts like they only made that color for 6 months. I don't know. That's what he always told me.
But it's all original. I mean, extremely nice shape. I mean, it's a neat old car.
Yep. 63,000 original miles on it.
No kidding.
Yeah. It's always fun to drive, although it must set lower than I remember it. It's harder to get in and out of than I recall it being. Yeah. I always liked them when I was a little kid because the back windows roll down.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for you younger kids, windows used to have a crank on them, and you had to move them up and down by hand. There wasn't a button you could push.
Right.
But the rear ones roll down as well.
Yep. Yeah, that car's probably got all the old features, ashtrays, all sorts of.
Yeah, it's got ashtrays, got the whole 9 yards. Yeah.
I always remember when I was a kid, we'd go to my aunt and uncles, and they always had. They drove big cars, like the Bonnevilles and the Caprice, back then. And them fucking things had ashtrays in the back of the seats and the doors between your legs. I mean, they had ashtrays.
I don't know how many people they were planning on having smoking in one of those things, but it was a bunch.
Yeah, there was ashtrays everywhere.
Yeah, always got to check out old farm tractor. I realized you only got to have one person in there, but one ashtray.
Yep.
5-person car, 9 ashtrays.
Yep, exactly.
And it's like, I don't know sure what's going on here, but yeah.
Yep. God, the old hoods on them cars was 10 feet long. I mean,
there's more steel in the ashtrays on one of those old cars than there is in the entire car of a new one.
That was back when they made them.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, it does have a lot of cool features, from back then. Whatever, it's laid out pretty well.
Yeah,
nice big console.
Did those come from the factory with a CB radio in them?
No, I don't think so.
They didn't. I didn't know if they did or not.
No. But literally almost everyone you see always has a CB.
I was going to say, because your dad's does, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yep. Like I was looking on YouTube or just Googling it up the other day on some stuff. And like out of the first 20 of them I looked at, I bet 17 of them had CBs in them.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yep. That was the original cell phone, wasn't it?
No doubt.
Yep.
Breaker.
Yep.
You don't have to worry about talking to anybody too far away.
Yep. How many of them things did they trash in the Dukes of Hazzard? I mean,
I've seen the numbers on it. It's not as many as you think. But some of that stuff, it's like, why did you keep doing that? Like, you could have just cut that scene from the episode before and pasted it in there.
Right.
Nobody would have been the wiser. How many times do you have to jump that same creek?
Right.
But yeah, it was several. I mean, that's part of what made that car famous, though.
Sure.
I mean,
is
people liked the show, and they did destroy a few of them, and it made it popular. I think I saw a deal the other day. They made a little over 85,000 of those in '69.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, if I had the money, I would like to have one painted like the General Lee just for shits and grins.
I looked at some the other day. I'm like, I need that like a third nipple.
Right.
It doesn't stop me from wanting one.
Yeah.
I like the green. I don't mind the green. I like that. I'd like to have a red one or a black one or both.
Right.
I'd love to have a General Lee edition. Yeah. No doubt. They are cool. I get in trouble with them, though. I can't responsibly drive a car that'll smoke the tires off like that. I just don't have the ability to withhold myself. I'm going to get in trouble.
Yep.
So I don't drive it much.
But you and I was talking earlier, and you're right. If you're going to have stuff like that, you just well get it out and drive it because you're fooling yourself. I mean, that shit just
sitting there ain't doing it any good.
No,
it's harder on than driving it.
Yeah.
And who you saving it for?
Well, that's just it. I mean,
my dad's in his 70s. Like, who you saving it for?
Right. And then, let's just take another generation. I mean, I can't imagine you or your brother, whoever ends up with it or however that works, would sell it either. Your kids maybe because they don't quite have the ties.
By then, they probably will buy gas for it.
That's what I mean. It'll be illegal by then anyway. So you guys might as well get it out and drive it and hope nobody T-bones you. But I mean,
no doubt.
It is what it is. I mean,
yeah. Like I said, you might as well get some enjoyment out of it.
Yeah.
Or get rid of it and get something you can enjoy.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I was on this tractor. I have no intention of backing that thing in the shed. It may go on a tractor drive. It may run an auger. It's going to do whatever, but I'm going to use it and enjoy it.
Yeah, I hear you.
It is what it is. And if you scratch it, you fix it or leave it or whatever you're going to do. I mean.
Well, the funny thing is we leave that thing set because we don't want to do any harm to it. Meanwhile, we had a pulling tractor this whole time that got hooked to a sled, screaming the shit out of it, Exactly. Wind, sleet, snow, hail, we'll take that thing and go, don't matter. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, might as well might as well enjoy it.
Yeah, I agree. Yep. So you got to try to get your 1468 painted sometime soon?
Yeah, but I don't think it's going to happen this summer. I'm out of time now.
Yeah, I mean, we're knocking on harvest here, about 40 days. I mean, thereabouts.
Yeah,
so.
I don't have time to mess with it this year, but next year, hopefully, or maybe over the winter.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe over the winter we'll get around to it. I finally got part of that building cleaned up. My kids took care of a bunch of that for me, and then where we always store it. But I got all the stuff out of the pulling trailer still basically in a pile.
Yeah.
That I need to go through and sort out and sell or move to the shop. Or,
right. At least rearrange it in another pile somewhere.
Yeah, rearrange it in a different pile somewhere else. So I got to get that done before I get too far into any other major projects.
Ain't it amazing, though, how much shit you accumulate in a trailer like that over a course of a career? I mean, gosh. It's like, where the hell was all this stuff at in the trailer? I mean, when you see it on the ground, it's like, that trailer had been full.
Yeah, it was full. Dad's like, no wonder we had to have a big license plate on that. I'm like, yeah, I hear you, whatever. I'm like, always had what we needed, though, didn't we? Yeah, I suppose you're right. But even my son was making fun of me when we were unpacking. He's just like, really? You need this much oil? Really? I'm like, if somebody else needs some, you spring a leak, like they spring a leak, like you never know. You're out for a few days, a couple pulls over the weekend or whatever. You never know.
Yeah. Wouldn't that suck to drive to Toma, Wisconsin and find out that you didn't have enough oil or something?
Nothing irritates me more than a deal like that, to need some knick-knack 10-cent item and not have it with you.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have a lot of the big pieces. I didn't have spare pumps and turbos, the big stuff. But all that little shit, like, just eats me up not to have that.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing, too. You go to a pull 8 hours away or 5 hours away, you blow a turbo, and it's like, you just accept that, hey, we're heading home. But you would be like driving somewhere, and it's like you forgot the spare tire and you had a flat. It's like, of all things.
You need a 3/8 bolt, you ain't got one. Yeah. And I've seen that happen before. And it's like, I always wanted to have all that stuff with me. So, and it kind of got to be a running joke. Oh, Nick's probably got that with him, which I usually did.
That's the way to do it, though.
Well, like I said, nothing irritates me more than to not have some of that small stuff. And I generally just worked on the tractor out of the trailer. Like if there was nothing major, I never even unloaded it. We just do it in there.
Sure.
So I was pretty well outfitted in there. But
I guess the guy that bought the tractor, he take the trailer and everything?
No, I sold the trailer to a different gentleman.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I almost missed the trailer. I mean, I missed the tractor at some level, I suppose. But I really liked that trailer. Like that was kind of my baby, too. Like, it was just a box trailer when we got it, and I set it up the way I wanted it, and it was a nice workstation, and I liked it. Set up well.
Yeah, that's part of it. I mean, when you go somewhere, you got to have a spot to
do all that stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, if you're going to put a clutch in, or
right.
I pulled the cylinder head in the trailer before. I mean, we'd done it all in there at some point in time or another.
Yep. Well, just like seating, you get somewhere, comes a little shower rain, not enough to rain the pole out, but you're not wanting to stand out in this sumbitch while you're tinkering on your tractor. At least you're inside. And, yeah.
No, you got to have all that stuff with you. And I had it organized in there. Now it's all in this pile. So I needed like 100 things out of there. I'm like, I know it's here somewhere, but where is it in this pile?
Yeah.
Because I was just trying to get it unloaded at the time so I could get the pictures and get it for sale. So I didn't pay that much attention to how I unpacked it.
Right.
And and then you find all kinds of stuff like from the tractor before, stuff that you're not going to need again, but it was all still in there,
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Yeah, that old pulling world, that's taken a different turn from when we were younger, I tell you.
It has taken a turn fast here just in the last few years.
I mean, I'm glad for the people that still do it. It's fun to go watch, but boy, it's getting to a whole new echelon now. I mean, you're going to spend some money.
Yeah, major dollars now. Yeah, I don't miss that part of it at all.
Yeah, I'll bet not.
I could do without that.
Yeah, and the funny part on that too is, you guys done all your work yourself. I mean, think about guys that just take them somewhere and build it and fix it and that gets costly after a while.
Yes. Yes, very costly.
But I guess, a lot of guys, if they got the money, you can't put a price on having fun, so they just
do it and move Every
on.
hobby's expensive. You just got to find one that fits your means and abilities,
And what I think too, some of that, people see a pro stock tractor and they just immediately think that you're spending $300,000 a year to do that. And I know that's obviously not the case. I mean, you could.
You could, but that's no different than camping. I mean, you can camp in a tent, or you can camp in a $900,000 motorhome where you pull in and it's basically a house on wheels. And
right. And plus you got your boat behind it with the new pickup in front of it and everything else.
Exactly.
So it's to each his own on that deal.
Yeah. You can make it as much or as little as you want.
And I don't know about you, but I'm assuming when you sell a pulling tractor, you probably don't take the beating that you do on a camper or a boat. I mean,
well, yeah, I mean, that depends. Yeah, that depends. You don't want to add up everything you've got in it. You know, 'cause some of that stuff you've wore out and thrown away,
right.
You know, but yeah. The best thing to do if you've got a pulling tractor is not put a pen and paper to it. Because if you think it's dumb just thinking about it and talking about it, put it on paper. Yeah. It gets really stupid really fast.
Yeah.
And kind of be like my short adventure of chickens. I spent enough on those stupid chickens to buy eggs for the rest of my entire life.
Right. Yep. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's getting that way. It don't matter if it's trucks, semi-trucks, you know, any of them guys in that pulling world. I mean, they just, I do miss that aspect when we were kids. When a truck pull was just that. You literally went and threw all the shit out of the bed of your truck to get it lightened up and took it down the track.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Seen several drive shafts blow apart. I mean, you know, it was fun. I mean.
Yeah, it was literally local people with trucks that they were driving. Mm-hmm. You might have been their farm truck.
Yeah, in fact, back then, I mean, it was unheard of to haul a truck to a pole.
They had a rule against it for a while.
Right. I mean, you literally drove in and
you'd have guys unloading them on the outskirts of town somewhere and hiding their truck and trailer and driving it half a mile to town. They had to shut it off 4 times to get there, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, now they all haul them in. And
oh, yeah, there's no daily drivers with license plates at all.
No, very, very few.
I wish they'd bring some of them pulls back. And I'm talking not just a class. I mean the whole fucking pull.
Yeah.
It's just,
I don't know how you would do it, though.
I don't either.
It's all gotten so far. It's any sport. I mean, even kids' T-ball has gotten to the point where people specialize and we're buying a special bat. And, you know, we're playing it year round and everything has moved so many notches. The only way to get around that is to find like to be on the forefront of a new sport or you know, something, because once it starts to catch hold, the sky's the limit. I mean, think about NASCAR back in the Richard Petty days compared to what it is now.
Yeah.
You know, they were still going 190 mile an hour back then,
right?
But now it costs them $2 million a race to do it.
Yeah,
you know,
and I think it was funner to watch back then. Personally,
absolutely,
it wasn't just this pack of cars all within 3 feet of each other going around the track.
And if they didn't like something, they might get out and have an ass kicking contest.
Yeah, there were several that went on back.
That's actually what put NASCAR on the map. I think I can't tell you the race, but that ended up being that big fight.
Yeah, it was K.O. Yarborough and I forget who else it was, but yeah, it was like they crashed. I think on like the last turn of the last lap or something, got out and duked it out right there. Yeah, it was like,
and that's what kind of brought it to mainstream.
Yep.
Yeah.
But no, you're right. I mean, the sports and all that. I mean, it's like if your kid misses, 3 weeks of summer baseball, then he's done. Career's over.
Career's over.
You know?
Yeah. Career's over.
It's just ridiculous.
And not to go down the baseball path, but I saw some stats on Nolan Ryan the other day. It's like, they just don't make him like a guy like that anymore.
Yeah.
You know, just a good old boy. And everybody's worried about, don't throw too many pitches. Don't do this, that, and the other. Yeah. He pitched a ton.
Oh, yeah. And a boatload and a lot of over 100 mile an hour balls coming down.
After you talk about a fist fight, he'll grab you by the head, punch you in the face. Yep. Come on out here. Yep. I got something for you.
Yep.
I'll pitch the rest of this inning with blood pouring out of my nose. I don't care. Yeah. You don't get too many of them. The basketball debate, how would LeBron and these guys do against the teams of the 80s? I realized the teams of the 80s didn't have bodybuilders that spent, all their time in the gym. But you send some of these candy butts down the lane, let Bill Lambier have a piece of it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're not going to do that more than once.
You never, ever heard Michael Jordan bitch about anything, a bad call or any of that. Now it's all drama. And
he just beefed up and took it and found a way around it,
If you could have took Michael Jordan in his heyday and put him up against LeBron James today, they ain't even comparable.
I say, you put LeBron against those Pistons teams, those Celtics teams back in the day.
Yep.
He wouldn't survive.
Back then, the NBA actually did play. For the last 15 years, they lollygag down the floor. Yep. It ain't even fun to watch. It's
There's
a joke.
Not much defense.
You just kind of put your arms up a little bit and let the guy take the shot. And,
it's moved I mean, it is impressive that they can shoot from 10 foot behind the 3-point line consistently. That part is impressive. But that's partially because they don't want to go down the lane.
That's just it. They turned it into just a 3-point contest, basically,
Yeah.
Back when we were kids, NBA was as fun to watch as what NCAA is. Because, I mean, I still enjoy college basketball. I mean, they play their hearts out. And that's how the NBA was back then.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, it's, I don't know, too many candy asses in it now.
Like everything.
Yeah. I don't watch any of that. I don't watch NASCAR. I don't watch NBA. I don't watch baseball, football. I don't watch anything.
I haven't watched NASCAR since they went to the the segmented races, I suppose they're
Yeah,
called.
whatever it is.
I didn't watch much when they went to the chase system. And once they went to the other shit, I couldn't even tell you who wins or how they win. Or
because
what
is it
I
like every
I have no idea.
stages? Yeah, every so many laps, there's like you get more.
That was about the time we got rid of cable, and
yeah,
I just don't watch it. Yeah.
Well, and it's almost like they've adapted everything to this. Everybody gets a trophy now.
Yeah.
You know, we got to neck the cars down so much so everybody can stay within 3 feet of each other. So everybody,
the car tomorrow was a kill shot. You know, Toyota, when Toyota got in, it was about the time I quit watching.
Yep.
They didn't have an engine for it. Well, why don't you guys just cherry pick every good feature off everybody else's engine and just make an engine specifically for this?
Yeah.
What? Why would you let them do that?
Yeah, like, exactly. That.
Whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, I guess people still watch that shit, but I don't.
Not near as many as they used to. Some of those places have actually taken seats out, or they've painted them different colors, so when the camera pans quick, it looks like there's people there.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, they can't fill a stadium like they used to.
Well, then you had the old, who was the guy with the noose?
Bubba Wallace?
Yeah. You know, that didn't help matters either. I mean.
No. I mean, there's some truth in the fact that when Dale Earnhardt died, NASCAR died. It hung on for a little while after that.
Yeah. That was honestly, the last of what I would call the old school. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Honestly, when Little Lee started to fade off, that was pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody had hopes for him, and I really think he probably would have got one in there somewhere if DEI had continued. But it took him long enough to get used to things at Hendrick and how they did things that the stars just never lined up for him.
Yeah.
I like Little Lee as a person. I think he's a great dude. Didn't have the talent his dad did, but part of his dad's talent was the fact he was willing to figuratively punch you in the mouth and drive away.
Right.
Like he didn't have any qualms with hitting you. Like,
right.
There's a lot of people that could have won a lot more if they'd have put you in the wall more.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
And if Alan Kawicki and Davey Allison hadn't got killed, Dale Earnhardt doesn't get 7 championships. But
yeah, I would agree with that for sure.
That's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
So under the old point system, Jeff Gordon gets 1, probably 2 more. So maybe even 3.
Yeah.
But for sure on paper, I think you can prove 1. And you never know how that stuff comes down to the end, you know, if they have to push it. You know?
Right.
But whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah. Actually, last night, we just subscribed to Hulu here a couple days ago. And I started watching a movie I've never seen before. It was Days of Thunder.
Oh, my gosh. What do you mean you've never seen that before?
I've never seen it. And I only made it about halfway through
Push pause and go finish that movie. I cannot believe you've never seen Days of Thunder.
I fell asleep when they were crashing their car. Like they had a wreck on. It was like fairly early in the movie. Tom Cruise and the other guy had a wreck.
Rowdy Burns.
Both went to the hospital.
Yeah.
When it got out there,
the rental cars.
Yes, exactly. That's where
you
I fell
realize
asleep.
that's loosely based on a true story, right?
No, I didn't.
That's loosely based on Dale Earnhardt, and I can't tell you who the other guy is.
Really?
But they ended up in the rental car thing like that and whatnot. Yeah.
No kidding.
I think, yeah.
I'll be damned. Yeah, I'm
pretty sure I read that somewhere.
I remember
that
that movie come out. I've heard all about it, but I've actually never seen it. And so I did get a kick out of the 10 or 1586 that Robert Duvall was driving there.
Damn right. Muddier than shit. He's out there just spraying, allegedly putting fertilizer on. I'm like, I don't know in February in the mud if that's, maybe it was.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if it was a 10 or 15. I kept looking, but I couldn't read the number on it.
I think it's a 15, but I wouldn't swear to it.
Yep. But yeah, I've never seen that movie, so we're going down that path. So maybe finish it tonight or something. We'll see.
Now, when you're racing and the car's out west, the tires are twice as wide and the car weighs half as much. Now the tires are. I never did figure out what the hell that meant, but apparently it was great advice.
Must have been.
His way, my way.
Go out and hit the pace car.
Hit the pace car. You hit every goddamn thing. I want you to be perfect.
I want to know, so from just the few minutes that I've seen you, Tom Cruise has been in probably 4 or 5 races to this point where I fell asleep. How does he get so fucking dirty driving a race car?
I always said that. He is completely filthy. Nobody else is.
Yeah. And then it's showing shots where they're like behind the car, you know, screaming down the straightaway. And I mean, it looks like you're working ground. I mean, there's just dirt flying everywhere. It's like, are we on pavement or what are we?
There is some dirt. I mean, I suppose they did eat a little dirt back then, but yeah, he's definitely the dirtiest driver on the circuit. Oh, my God.
His face is just
he
black.
Is covered. Wait till you get to the end. His car is completely black from one end to the other. It's like, what has he been doing?
Right.
You know? Did he work the infield down with a plow before this race? I'm not sure how this happened. Yeah.
What was John Deere's little stint in NASCAR? I mean, why was that such a short-lived when Chad Little drove? I mean, Why did that start and end so abruptly? I mean, they never.
Well, for one, they had Chad Little, and they weren't worth a shit.
Well, true.
He's probably a nice enough guy, but he couldn't drive for shit.
Right.
I suppose it probably didn't make financial sense. Like, to my understanding, and I could be all wrong on this, and somebody that listens or watches TikTok maybe can probably tell us. I had heard at one time, though, Deere sold enough merchandise the first year of that sponsorship to pay for their entire contract.
Really?
I mean, everybody you knew
had
a John Deere hat, coat, boot, scarf, something that matched that car. You know, they sold a ton of merchandise off of that. But I don't know. I think that was the lawn and garden department that actually did that, didn't it?
Oh, was it? I never heard.
I think it was the turf department. Or
really?
I'm not sure how their companies all broke up on that, especially now. But yeah.
I guess it would make more sense for the lawn and turf because you're not targeting just farmers at that. I mean, it's anybody.
Exactly. I mean, everybody's got a lawnmower. Well, not everybody, but most people.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that was part of it. Of course, back then, Cat was in it. I suppose I don't know who was in it first. Maybe that was the reason the other one got in. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they sold a ton of merchandise out. But did Chad Little ever win a race?
Not that I'm aware of.
He might have won one. Maybe everybody else forgot to show up. I don't know, but he wasn't particularly good.
That would be a good question for TikTok for the younger crowd. You know, how many people knew that John Deere sponsored a car? I mean, because
every tractor puller had a fire suit that looked like Chad Little's.
Yeah, exactly.
They must have sold 100 of those stupid things.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know why you want to look like Chad Little. Like,
yeah,
that's not that good.
That probably ended in what? 2008 or 9, maybe even before that.
Probably before that.
Yeah, it's been a while back. And I'm going to say the whole thing lasted 5-6 years, maybe.
Probably.
Yeah.
Well, matter of fact, when they pulled out, did Chad Little ever drive another car?
Not that I'm aware of.
He might have. Like I say, he wasn't good enough to make it to worry about it. I don't guess, but
it is neat watching Days of Thunder. Though you had the Skull Bandits car, and you had all that shit.
You could thank the U.S. government for screwing that up.
Yeah,
and a lot of that's how tractor pulling got screwed up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it was always the Skull Copenhagen
Skull pulling circuit, yeah. Pulling didn't know what they had when they had Wrangler, and they really didn't know what they had when they had Copenhagen Skull.
Is that right?
Yeah. Wrangler could have been a huge deal, but back then it paid pretty good.
Well, yeah,
back then, if you won the points, you get $30,000 in a pickup truck.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. Well, now, they don't even give you seed corn anymore because seed corn got too expensive.
Exactly.
But, when the government kicked tobacco companies out of motorsports, that hurt. Yeah. They never did really recover sponsor-wise.
Right.
Because at that point in time, Copenhagen School had plenty of money. Like, the little bit they gave tractor pulling was barely a line item on their budget. It probably even wasn't.
Right.
It probably was like, okay, advertising. It was built into that. Like, we don't even care that we're giving them $100,000 or $200,000, whatever it was.
Yeah.
It was nothing compared to what they were spending on NASCAR and Joe Camel ads and, whatever else.
Yeah. Because when did Winston Cup end in NASCAR? Because it was Nextel Cup for a long time.
Here's what burns my ass about that. To this day, if you listen to any of the radio shows, this, that, and the other, because I listen to Little E's podcast a little bit, which I really like. But if they're referring to a champion, they call it by whatever shitbag sponsor there is now.
Really?
And that burns my ass. When Earnhardt won that stuff, those were Winston Cup trophies.
Yeah.
They weren't Nextel Cups. They weren't Sprint Cups. They weren't
What is it now?
Now it's divided up amongst like 3 or 4 companies.
Jesus.
Because it's lost in popularity so much. I saw a stat on this a while back, and I'm going to use made up numbers for a demonstration point, but let's say it was a $20 million deal, like when Nextel took that on. I think now it's like a $8 million deal, and 4 companies split it.
Really?
Those numbers aren't the exact numbers, but it's drastically different than what it was because it reaches drastically less people now than what it did.
Is Nextel even a company anymore?
I don't think so.
I had a Nextel cell phone years ago.
I know. I hated riding with you when you had that thing that beeped all the damn time in and out of service.
Exactly.
Well, Sprint bought them, I think.
Oh, did
and then it became the Sprint Cup for a little bit.
Yep.
And then I always called them no-tel phones because you weren't no-telling anybody anything because they never had any service, but not around here.
So when do you think the first electric NASCAR shit will be? I mean, it's coming because we're going to have to cater to the...
Well, that'll be perfect for them. Then everybody can have the same shit.
Yeah.
They won't be loud.
Yep.
They won't burn that evil gasoline.
Yep. You wait and see.
You're probably right.
It'll happen.
They love to be woke.
Yep.
And in my opinion, that's when NASCAR lost. They forgot who they were. They tried to go to a bunch of northern tracks. They took races away from the South.
I mean, the South is where it originated.
They lost their diehard fans. Northern people, and don't take this the wrong way, but they got into it because it was popular, hip, and cool. They weren't grassroots.
Right.
We're going to see dirt track stuff. We love this, so on and so forth. Diehard NASCAR fans. It was popular. It was cool.
Yeah.
So we'll do it. And once it became less popular and cool, it's faded off. And, I mean, do you know anybody that's busting ass to Joliet to watch a race?
Yeah, nobody.
I can't think of anybody that's been there in the last 15 years.
No, and that's what, 2.5 hours from here?
Yeah, I can't think of anybody that's been there in 10 years.
No.
You know, there probably is somebody from here, but I don't know who it'd be.
Yeah.
You know, I would go there for the drag race, maybe. I still like drag racing. Once John Force quits, that's going to end.
Yeah.
Cripesy Field's half the teams. I mean,
that ain't no kidding. Yeah.
You think tractor pulling trailers have gotten nice? You ought to see those drag car trailers.
Oh, I could only imagine.
They wouldn't serve hamburgers out of some of the nicest ones on the pulling circuit. Like,
hell, I would imagine a guy like John Force, he's probably got a fleet. I mean, he's probably got mills and lathes. You know what I mean?
Last time I went to a drag race, well, about the only time I've been to a big drag race in St. Louis, went over on a Friday afternoon with a buddy of mine. I counted 7 or 8 rigs that were Forces that I knew were Forces. I don't know how many other ones he had there, but he had at least 8 rigs there. And they're not short rigs. Yeah. I mean, they were loaded front to back, top to bottom with everything.
Wow. Because I'm trying to think, there's him, and he's got his daughter, and then is there another daughter that's in it?
She got out.
Because there was John, and then there's Ashley.
Ashley's out. Brittany, and I can't think of the other one's name.
I think it was Ashley. I don't remember, but he had a daughter or 2 I knew I didn't know.
Yeah, he had a couple of them running for a while. It might be down to 1 now, and then a couple other guys, so on and so forth.
Of course, he's no spring chicken. I mean,
no, he's my dad's age.
Is he really? Yeah.
Roughly.
So
yeah, he's in his 70s.
Yeah, I would think he would be hanging it up for long. I mean,
yeah, you would think.
But man, he's made a lot of money doing that.
Yes, he has. Broke a lot of records and a lot of awesome shit.
Don't you think a lot of that is literally being at the right place at the right time? So, you know, he got into that sport and was good enough and kept going and going that once you reach a certain threshold, now nobody can catch you because you're so far ahead of the pack that it kind of falls in your lap now because you've got the best equipment and the best sponsors.
Well, and they got the most numbers and whatever. I mean, I saw an interview with him one time. He's like, well, I'm scared to get out. I'm afraid I'll be poor again. Yeah. He's like, I grew up poor. I don't want to do that again.
Right.
He's like, I'm just going to keep doing it. So, then you had those big oil guys that got in it for a while, and there's been some other players. But there again, it's got so expensive that, it takes somebody with a ton of money that they literally don't care about to end up promoting it,
Yeah. Which I've always wondered. So we'll just go back to the John Deere deal on NASCAR or whoever. When it comes down to it, is it truly all about selling merchandise? Because take John Deere, it's like, do you really need your name out there any more than what it is? I mean, is it like literally
back then? It probably wasn't as big a household name. Like certain companies have always intrigued me, right? Like, okay, we'll use Tide for example. Okay, so literally every household in the United States is buying laundry detergent of some fashion for the most part. 99% of them. The rest of you people better watch your ass. You need to be buying it too. So you can, and there's a ton of competition in that market. So you can grab some people here or there or whatever, but it's like interstate batteries always intrigued me. Now, you've got 1 or 2 options when you go to buy a battery. Whatever the hell you can find because your battery's dead and you need a battery right then, or you can buy an Exide versus an interstate. For the most part. Yeah. I mean, there's a couple other companies probably, but they're probably underneath those umbrellas. Like, push comes to shove, are you really saying, okay, Carolyn's battery's dead in her in her van? Well, the interstate dealer's 30 miles from here. I'm going to go get one of those because I like Bobby Labonte. Or are you just driving wherever the heck you can get a battery? Like some companies, okay, Budweiser, for example. Well, yeah, I'm going to buy Budweiser instead of Miller Lite because I don't like Rusty Wallace. Okay. But on like batteries, like, are you really making that decision based off of that? Right. Probably not. You're just buying, you don't have a ton of options. They don't, right. Most places don't sell more than one brand.
Right.
So you're probably going wherever you can buy it.
Right. I was in a hurry. I've come out to my car. I expected it to start. It didn't. So now I got to get a battery as soon as I can.
So I'm like, some of those companies, I never could see where the ROI was there.
Right.
Like Deere, okay, a lot of those people probably didn't know necessarily the Deere brand name or whatever in the lawn and garden part of it or whatever. It wasn't a household name where everybody wanted to own a Deere lawnmower. Maybe. And maybe once they got to the end of the contract, they're like, well, we've accomplished our goal. Any more than this and we'll lose money. We're doing good with it. Let's roll and see where it goes. We can always get back in. But some companies, I'm like, I don't see the point.
Right.
Like, what else are you going to buy other than the product that, whatever. I'm sure there's people, and some of it I think probably comes down to if you've got a CEO that's a NASCAR fan.
Yeah, could be.
Or a, basketball fan. We're going to sponsor a stadium or, it all depends on, some of that shit probably doesn't make any sense. But if you got a CEO that's top that likes that particular thing and wants to go to all those events of whatever said sport is, that's the direction we push the board. And, okay, cool. Now we'll all get box seats and tickets and this will be great.
Yeah.
Probably has more to do with it than we even know.
Wonder how that works. And just throwing out round numbers, let's say Caterpillar is going to sponsor this car and it's going to cost them $3 million. But then, you got all the other companies that put their stickers on there too. It might cost you $200,000 to put your sticker on the trunk or whatever. So does that go to the driver? Does that come off a Cat's deal? Who does that go to?
I think it all goes to the team.
It all goes to the team?
Yeah.
But I guess whoever's putting the most money in it, it's their official sponsorship. Like Caterpillar put $3 million in it. You only put $200,000, so we're going to call it the Caterpillar.
Yeah, it's going to be the Caterpillar Dodge.
Yep.
Ward Burton going to drive it.
Yeah.
And we had a pretty good race today. We probably put my brother in the ball, and we're looking forward to next Sunday. But it's the Caterpillar Dodge, and then all those small companies are, a bunch of them are probably product, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Product and some cash, your Edelbrocks, your Smith Brothers push rods, or whoever else, I was always told it was $100,000 back then for a sticker about like yay.
Really?
I don't know if that's accurate or not.
Yeah. Oh, it probably was.
That guy over at Marshall.
Oh, Forsyth?
Yeah, wanted his name on Dale Earnhardt's car. And that's what I always heard it cost him.
Really?
Was $100,000 to get it on there.
Oh.
I don't know if that's true.
That's probably is, because otherwise every Tom, Dick, and Harry, he's like, fucking, I got $1,000, I'll, just to say my name's on there for a race.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I'd always heard. That was clear back in the 90s. But yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely one sport. NASCAR actually was fun to watch and follow when we were, like in high school age or whatever.
We hardly ever missed a race.
Yeah.
On Sunday, that's what Dad did. He watched, we didn't watch the whole thing from start to finish, but it was on the whole time.
Right.
We were doing other stuff, so on and so forth.
Yeah, I used to listen to it all the time, farming or whatever, and I ain't turned it. I couldn't tell you anybody in NASCAR. I
couldn't either. And at some level, I'd almost rather listen to them as watch them.
Yeah, I would
for
too.
The first 2/3 of the race.
Yep. I've always been that way, like with baseball. If you told me to go upstairs and just watch a baseball game, can't do it. But as far as listening to it in a tractor or something,
I can listen to it in a tractor.
Yeah, I have no issue with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes you wonder where all this stuff will go, because even so now I wasn't into NASCAR, none of that. So generally that stuff kind of follows, so, I don't foresee my kids being interested.
And that's part of the generation change, right? Like, we like fast cars and horsepower and that stuff. Kids today don't even give a shit if they give their license.
Yeah.
They'd rather have a cell phone and good Wi-Fi signal.
Right.
Well, motorsports are going to go by the wayside as a result of that.
Yep, exactly. That was like restoring this tractor. Henry helped me for, 3 or 4 days, and he kind of lost interest in it and never helped. And I wasn't going to force him. It wasn't no big deal, but you can just tell it's that generation gap that they just, they don't care about it. And that's fine. I'm not saying he has to, just because it was my pride and joy as a kid don't mean it has to be his.
No, exactly.
But they just don't get into, when I was that age, I was constantly looking over my dad or grandpa's shoulder. It didn't matter what they were wrenching on, working on, building, whatever.
Oh, part of it was that we had no choice, though.
So
you learn to enjoy it, because that's why I told my son today. I'm like, man, my knees hurt. And he's like, what from? I'm like, well, because I'm fat, I'm old, and I've been standing on concrete since I was 10. Why you been doing that? I'm like, because there was work to be done. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm like, well, that's how you get work done.
Yeah.
It's like,
exactly.
You got to go to work. You can't do it from an easy chair at home. And that's just the way it was. You got home from school, you went to the shop.
We didn't have the other forms of entertainment. We didn't have a cell phone, an iPad, 400 channels on TV, whatever. And I guess the stuff that our dads were doing and working on was the stuff that we lived with every day, whether it was a tractor or a whatever.
Yeah.
You watched him work on it, and then you watched him go drive it.
Yeah, exactly.
Where now my kids, they don't really care. And I'm not going to force the issue. That's fine. They don't. And I guess I need to make that clear on TikTok, because everybody's commented about, doing that with your son. And, well, we did for a little bit, but he lost interest. And I'm not trying to portray this as that him and I just restored his tractor. I mean, I've done 90% of it all by myself.
Yeah.
But that's fine. I'm not knocking him for not wanting to be a part of it. That's fine.
When we were kids, we had a Nintendo later on at some point, but like that was something you did at the very end of the day, and not for very long, because the TV we had it on out on the porch always went dead. So eventually my brother and I cut a hole in it with a hot knife, literally with a lighter and a knife. Cut a hole in it, put a fan in it.
Yeah.
And then you could get about another 15 minutes. But otherwise you had to let it cool off all the time.
I mean, your dad and my dad, you weren't going to be sitting in the house at 2 o'clock on a hot day like today playing Nintendo while everybody else was working. That just wasn't going to fly.
No, you were going to be outside.
Yeah.
Doing something. Yeah, exactly.
It is interesting to watch our kids grow. And maybe our dads thought this about us. Probably not, because luckily our generation was the last that was still kind of coupled to the old ways in a little bit. We still ran tractors from the 60s and 70s, and we, the same stuff that they did, where now everything's advanced so fast.
Yeah, we didn't have cabs on everything. Sometimes you had a cab tractor.
Yeah.
And
usually the high man on the totem pole got to run that.
Which
that
wasn't me.
Yeah. But it is interesting to watch our kids now, how we see them coming up and what they're interested in. And I sit there and think, man, I just can't believe they wouldn't like this or whatever. And I don't force the issue. Times change. I don't, I'm sure when, tractors come out, I'm the old man probably said, man, I can't believe these kids don't want to ride these horses anymore. I don't blame them.
It's just a difference in the, I'll use this for an example. So I'm coming past my parents' place and I wind the Scout up and I click her down to low and I cackle it all the way past her house. And my mom's just got a grin on her face ear to ear. Glass packs are cackling. She's just loving it. I'm taking my daughter for a drive in it. I do the same thing. She's like, why do you insist on doing that all the time? Because it sounds awesome.
Right.
And she's like, no, it doesn't. Stop doing it. I'm like, well, you're riding with the wrong person if you don't think I'm going to cackle it at every given opportunity.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's a stop sign coming up. We're out in the middle of the country. I'm like, there's no reason to wear the brakes out. I'll just cackle it on down.
But if you stop and think about it, our kids have never heard anybody necessarily cackle pipes.
No.
I mean, they really haven't, because a lot of the trucks nowadays are diesel. So and that sounds totally different than cackling pipes.
Yeah, for sure.
But if I would have been 12, 13 years old, your daughter's age, I would have thought that was the greest thing in the world. Let's do it again.
Every vehicle we ever had was that way. So we got diesel trucks. Like everything we had loud had glass packs on it.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing I'm probably going to do when I go to this quote unquote start restoring it is I'm going to buy a brand new set of purple Hornies.
Yeah.
And put right down the side.
Yeah.
The way God intended it to be.
Yep.
Loud as I can make it. Loud pipes save lives, Tony.
That's right. They do. Yep. But yeah, it's just funny how the generation is so much vastly different from us and our dads versus our kids and us.
Well, exactly. And part of the reason I have the side exhaust on that is just as a community service, I can help blow the grass off the road.
Exactly.
That way with the side pipes.
Yeah.
So
you're just doing community service.
So sometimes I just drive around after I hear people mow and I just clean the grass.
I mean, I'm just going off of Illinois laws. It's illegal to put a muffler on a gun, a silencer. We can't have that because it makes it too quiet. So
yeah, exactly.
I mean, I assume vehicles are the same way.
Yeah, I don't know why I'd want a muffler on that. Yeah.
So
yeah, I hear you. I do love glass packs. I'm not going to lie. Love every second of it. I could listen to that all day long.
God, when we were 16, of course, not many people had diesel pickups back then. I mean, a few you did and maybe a handful of others, but not near like today. But everybody that had a gas truck, I mean, El Caminos, it didn't matter. You had glass packs on everything.
Glass packs on everything. Yep.
And then some people had just straight pipes. It was just ungodly.
Your whole life was sponsored by Cherry Bomb.
Yeah.
One way or another. Fireworks or glass packs, one way or another. Cherry Bomb was your company.
Yep.
I don't know if the two are related, but
there was no sneaking in back in them days. I mean, you could hear shit coming for a block away.
I remember a mutual friend of ours would come in to pick my brother up. Between the super swampers and the glass packs, I could tell when he left his house that he lives 3 miles from town. Yep. I could hear him the whole way. So here he comes. Yeah. Good times. Kids just don't know what they're missing. I could start that Charger up and just rev it up and down for at least 30 minutes and have a smile on my face the whole time.
Yep. Same way. And I'm even that way. A lot of the old tractors, I don't care if John Deere, IH, they just sounded good back then. They'd smoke, whatever. Now you just have nothing.
I had both the V8s running the other day because I was cleaning that shed or whatever. And I'm like, I could just sit there and rev that thing up and down in the shed.
Yeah.
I took it for a quick drive.
Yep.
Crack the throttle, throw the torque, smile on my face. I'm like, yep, I'm good.
Yep.
That's That's what I live for.
That's why I do kind of enjoy these tractor drives. I mean, yeah, it's kind of pointless, but at least, what else you can do with this tractor? You know what I mean?
Driving an emissions tractor with 15-foot muffler on it, it's like, well, that's exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice in the field from the creature comfort standpoint, but there's nothing cool about it. No. I want to go up a hill, crack the throttle, see 3 inches of fire, throw the torque, a little more smoke, a little more fire, the whole time the neighbor going, God dang, I was just about asleep.
Yep, that's exactly right.
That's what I'm looking for.
Yep. Yeah, because Henry made that comment when I fired this tractor up after we'd got the turbo on it and had the straight pipe. He said, man, that sounds a lot different, Dad. I said, yeah, it does sitting here in the shed. But I said, you really notice it like if you got it under a load or going up a hill where you actually can hear the difference in the motor.
You didn't take him out and let him ride the brakes?
No, I didn't.
Come on now. That's hours worth of fun right there.
Exactly. You know, we need to start up. I come across this on TikTok. In fact, I ought to send you the video. And I think it's out in New Jersey. It's called Diggerland. Have you seen this?
Where you can go hop on all the construction equipment and moving around and whatnot.
And you dig holes and shit.
That would be fun.
We need to do something like this with old tractors. Just get a couple old 1066s, 4020s, whatever.
There you go.
Make your way around the track, folks.
I just told somebody that the other day, if you won that, the super high Mega Millions deal or whatever, which is hard to win when you don't buy tickets, but what would you do? I'm like, well, I would build one and I would rent it at polls. You have to show me that you have some level of experience, but $3,000, whatever the number is,
right?
You can rent it. You want to make a pass on a pro stock? Don't spend the $300,000. Here you go. Spend $3,000
exactly.
on this one. No, obviously I'm not going to have it tuned to full,
right?
Whatever. And you probably want to put some overrides in there that you can run from the sideline. But here you go.
Yeah. In fact,
a rental unit.
Maybe this would be a great poll where that's the only tractor at the poll, and we just get 15 random people. Yeah. It's the same tractor. It's all fair. We're going to see who the best driver is.
Or build 3 or 4 all the same. Yeah. IROC pulling. There you go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But, we got to do something like that for the young kids of the next generation.
Well, that's the problem. It's gotten so expensive. Like, my dad started pulling in 1968. He didn't have corporate sponsorship then or whatever. He didn't have 2 nickels to rub together. But found a way to do it, on a small level and then work his way up. That doesn't exist now.
No. And by what do you say? By the early 70s, guys were buying brand new tractors and converting them to pulling tractors.
Well, you couldn't buy a used 1066.
Right, exactly.
You want one, you better order one.
Yeah.
They'd order them PTO, 3-point delete, narrow fronts, no hydraulics, ready to go.
I wonder what the people that got that build sheet thought, what the fuck is this guy doing?
Why did this guy, the same dealership, order 3 of these?
Yeah. No PTO.
They're in the middle of Illinois. No PTO, no 3-point. Narrow front.
And no hydraulics.
No hydraulics. All right. Well, build them, I guess.
Wonder how many times I got to call to the front desk. Is this right? Yeah. I mean, there's no options on this tractor.
Yeah. Yeah. No shit, right?
But, you got to do something like that, whether it's an old 966, nothing fancy, hopped up, whatever, but something that the kids can go out and pull it in low fourth, whatever.
Enjoy. I mean, that's how I got my start. We had an old 806. It was beat to shit. As soon as Dad told me I could pull it, I dug in the corner and found a chrome pipe and went out there and stuck a chrome pipe on it and took it to the pull. Yeah. Then we got the V8 the next year. Good times.
Because I do think that my son and the group of kids that he runs with would take an interest if they had a chance to do it.
Yeah.
But they just don't have. I mean, we've literally got my 4010 now and then our old 4020, and it's like,
grudge match.
Yeah, exactly. but
I call dibs on a 4020. It's a side console.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Got to be worth 10 foot.
Oh, absolutely. But I've got a chrome pipe, so I'm going to take at least 5 of that back.
The heck with the turbo. It's got a side console, Tony.
But, there's a lot of them kids that their dads or whatever don't even have anything they could pull even if they wanted to. And,
no, for sure.
I think you need something in there that's just an old beat to shit tractor and they can all make a pass on it and grudge match it, but I don't know.
Times they are changing.
Yeah, this shit's going to die on the vine if we ain't careful.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure.
But hell, you and I talked here a while back, even these small town carnivals and shit anymore. Mm-hmm. The fucking insurance companies have ruined everything. I mean, you can't have rides, you can't do this, you can't do that because somebody might get sued. And
it all costs so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a shame in that aspect that our kids haven't got to see what we got to see from that aspect of it, Yeah,
I saw a TikTok on that the other day. You can't raise your kids the way you were raised because that world doesn't exist anymore. There's some truth in that, unfortunately. And our parents probably said the same thing. You know, Dad still bitches, my God, when I was a kid, you could drive clear to Effingham and never meet a car. Well, that's neat, but I'm like, you give Illinois like 10 more years, it'll be back to that.
Yeah, exactly.
Once everybody moves out of this godforsaken state, I mean, you'll be back to that eventually.
Once we have electric cars and no grid to fucking
charge them with. Yeah, it'll be back to that. Yeah, but it's a different world.
Yeah, it is. And I don't know, I guess I've said this before. We talk about how great it was, and it was in a lot of aspects, but I can remember sitting around as a kid, too, thinking, oh, my God, I am so bored. You know what I mean?
Well, you didn't dare tell anybody that. Like,
no.
Like my kids will tell me, I'm bored. Congratulations.
Yeah.
I just found a chore for you to do that, you know?
And mine seemed to be more either in the winter or of an evening. Like, you've been outside all day, then because we didn't have Nintendos or none of that shit.
My kids always want to play the hardest the last 30 minutes before it's time to go to bed.
Yep.
Like, it'll be time to go to bed. Max wants to play Nerf basketball.
Yeah.
All right. It happened to me tonight before I came over here. I'm like, I'll play one game. 2 games later, you know, how about one more? I'm like, no, we played a best of 3. Like, if you win, then you're going to play 5. If I win, then you're going to play 7. Next thing you know, we're here till 2 a.m, you know. Suffice to say, I can beat you anytime. It's just, you know, whether or not I want to.
Yeah, how much effort do we want to put into this?
My head is literally above the rim.
Right.
You know? If you score, it's because I'm letting you score.
Yeah.
But you can't tell them that, you know. Their new obsession now is pool. Took them a place the other day. There's a pool table. Yeah, go ahead and play a game. Now they are obsessed with pool.
Yeah, I can't believe that. That's one game I've just never been into.
I'm not a pool shark by any stretch of the imagination. I enjoy it, but I'm not a pool shark by any means. But I think I'll have to break out Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man and let him see the 5 rules.
Yep, there you go.
For playing pool. If you haven't seen that movie, that's a good one.
I was thinking about that too, because we've been through Netflix, now we're on to Hulu, HBO Max. We've been through all this stuff, and you spend all your time scrolling through this shit.
I just watch the same movies I've watched before.
That's how I am. Until you finally,
I don't even look for new ones. I just watch old movies that I know I like.
That's so. Like last night, I watched Caddyshack, and then I forget there was a couple movies from the '80s. So that's literally all you do is scroll for 30 minutes. You can't find nothing, so you just settle for Police Academy or whatever it is.
I can't tell you how many times my wife and I we'll scroll. We can't find anything we both agree on. Pretty soon we're both back on our phones. I've lost interest while she's scrolling, and I'm back to just playing on my phone.
I just want an app that has them all. I don't care if you guys got to merge, whatever.
Yeah.
I get tired of, I'm like, oh, hell, they'll have this movie from the 80s. Ain't seen that for years. Nope.
For $14.99. I'm like, I'm not giving $14.99 to watch Police Academy 2.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? I'm not giving you $4.99. I'm not giving you 49 cents to watch it.
Right.
Yeah.
I just want an a la carte place that has them all.
Yeah.
If I do want to buy it, I can, but half this stuff, well, it's not found here and it's not there and it dropped off it's like, just give me a fucking service that has them all.
And some of those apps suck so bad. It's like, has anybody ever tried to actually use this app? Yeah. Like, I'm so pissed off every time I try to get to the show. You know, Hulu's not set up great.
No,
Sling was even worse. I got onto Sling at some point.
I like how Netflix at least gives you a description when you hover over the movie. These others, you got to click into it and then out of it. Yeah. And it's terrible.
Yeah, they could be streamlined a little bit.
And then it kept going down. I showed Carolyn, the day we got Hulu, I'm like, this is how fucked up this app is. We started going down through it, and it was one of the, I don't remember if it was Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, whatever it was. So, so you start out, you got binge-worthy TV shows. It was on there. Then you come down to critically acclaimed TV shows. It was on there. So this thing was in like 9 different categories. I'm like, are they just pushing the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? I mean, it was on every fucking line on here.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I don't watch much TV anymore for that reason. I can't find nothing to watch.
I just watch the shit I've watched before.
Yep.
Now, for you, since Days of Thunder is new, there's a whole new world for you. But you could probably go and have a scrambled egg or a fried egg or a eggs Benedict and
exactly.
Watch some Days of Thunder and have a whole new world opened up to you, Tony.
I don't know how I ever missed Days of Thunder, but I don't know
how you ever missed it coming out of the Green Buildings, because that was one of only 3 movies I had out there. It was like Days of Thunder, the Jetsons, and something else. Like if it was on,
I'll be damned. Yep, I've never.
I have literally watched that movie 1,000 times.
Really?
I can quote it and Tombstone from beginning to end.
Tombstone, I've probably only seen once or twice, and that was clear back when it first came out. I ain't seen it in years.
I don't even know how we're friends.
Yeah.
I love Days of Thunder.
Yeah. No, I was just never a big movie watcher. But the 80s and 90s did have a lot of
good movies.
A lot of good movies. You don't find them like that. It seemed like it all ended with about the American Pie series.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking the Band Camp and all that other bullshit. The first American Pie 1 and 2.
The first couple, yeah.
After that, Movies went downhill. You can't just roll through and think, man, this is like a good comedy and watch it. And
people don't take humor anymore. Everybody gets offended.
Yeah. I couldn't tell you last time I watched a new comedy where I just laughed my ass off. It's probably like maybe a Wedding Crashers or something of that area.
That. Even those are old now, though.
Yeah, exactly.
So old motorboat and son of a bitch. You Sailor You.
That was a good movie.
That was a good movie. After you get done watching Days of Thunder, we'll have to swing in and watch Old School. Maybe fire up the old Red Dragon. Keep it on the down low. It's not exactly street legal, Tony.
Took the restrictor plate off, didn't he? Or so I forget what he said. Yeah, that was another good movie.
Streaking the quad into the gymnasium.
Yeah.
Who's streaking? They're right behind me. Cold out there, huh? Guys, stop it.
Oh, yeah. Yep, them were the good old days.
Mm-hmm. No doubt.
Oh.
No doubt.
So what are we going to do the rest of the summer?
Summer's about over, unfortunately.
Yeah, I say, hell, the kids go back to school in, what, a week?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
God, don't seem possible.
About Bowling Green time, though.
When is that?
Not this weekend, but next.
So that would be like the
18th, 19th, 20th, something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I've had a lot of people ask if I'm going. I don't think I'm going to make it. I guess I'm not saying I won't. How long are you going for?
All of it.
All of it. And is that 3 days?
Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Yeah. I'll probably, if I get all my stuff done in time, probably go out Wednesday. But we'll see. That remains to be seen. I got a tractor that's supposed to be there that I don't have all the stuff to put on it yet. So if it all makes it in and I get it on there, that would be my plan. But
Old Town, USA.
Named after Fighter Town, USA off of Top Gun.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, that's where it come from.
Have you seen the new Top Gun movie?
I have.
Is it any good?
It's phenomenal.
Really?
Phenomenal. Probably one of the best movies I've ever seen.
I'll be dang.
I had a smile on my face, ear to ear, the whole time.
Really?
Awesome.
Did I read somewhere that a lot of that stuff in there, they actually done it, like flying some of the planes, like obviously not unattended, I'm assuming.
$11,000 a minute.
Really?
To the U.S. government, I believe. Yeah.
Wow.
Something like that.
I'll be damned.
I think it was 11,000 a minute or 11,000 an hour. I don't remember what it was. It was 11,000 something.
Yeah. So is it drastically different from the original, or does it kind of follow the same a little bit?
It plays off the old one, but it's great. It's a great movie.
So it's not like a 1990 sequel where it was literally the same movie the second.
It's not the same movie the second time over, and it's not cheesy. It's all good.
I'll be dang. Everybody I've talked to said it was really good.
It's good. Like I said, you literally, I had a smile on my face from the opening scene to the credits.
No kidding.
It's great.
Yeah, I'll have to give that a watch sometime, maybe.
Yeah.
Not wait.
I would go see it in the theater again tomorrow.
Really?
If it was still in there. They ought to keep it in there longer. I would go see it again.
Somebody told me or something that was actually supposed to be released like during COVID, and Tom Cruise held it back which sounded like the right play. I mean.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the rest of the staff was like, couldn't hardly take it, but yeah.
Yeah, I've noticed that's kind of the new trend now, ain't it, to bring back, like they even do that with TV sitcom, Roseanne and then Fuller House, and now a lot of these older movies are being remade.
Well, they're out of ideas. They're going back to the old stuff. But Top Gun needed a sequel. It needed to wrap up some loose ends, and it did.
I'll be damned.
Kind of hoping they do a Days of Thunder, too.
Yeah. Well, let me get the first one watched before we bring that one out.
They've given you 30 years, Tony. Okay.
Yeah, I think I looked that movie come out in 1990.
The Chevy Lumina was the car featured there.
It was.
They haven't made a Lumina for quite some time.
Yeah.
I'm still pissed about that. That's when NASCAR started on a downhill track, because a Lumina was front-wheel drive. Should have never been allowed in NASCAR.
I'll be damned. Yep. Yeah, before that it was the Monte Carlo, wasn't it? Like back in the Earnhardt, I think it was Monte Carlos.
Yeah, and then it was Lumina, and they brought the Monte Carlo back, at least the name, like in the Jeff Gordon era. Yeah. And Ford had the Thunder Chickens for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why they kept making the Thunder Chickens till, 94 or whatever? It was for NASCAR.
Oh, is that right?
I think, yeah. It wasn't because they were selling a shitload of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. What do you think of the new electric Mustang? You going to go out and buy you one of them muscle cars?
No, I think I'm going to pass on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm going to pass on that. I don't need any electric vehicle of any shape or form.
No, I think I'm the same way. I'm pretty well good in that department, I believe.
I'll take my diesel smoke, and I'm fine with that. I don't know how glass packs would work on an electric car. Probably not that well.
Yeah, probably not that well. It's probably throwing your money away.
Yeah.
That could be a line maybe that we would want to start, though. Just people we can get to fall for.
Yeah. Well, we could probably put something in there to make noise.
Yeah, I've wondered that too. Do you think that will be a viable business in the future to just, whether it's through a speaker or something, to have a car actually make noise like an old muscle car?
I think they'll have to have it make some noise to keep people from getting ran over because they won't hear it coming.
Well, that could be, because I know electric golf carts are dangerous.
Remember years ago, and you might not have been there, but you probably were. We were sitting at your brother's house, and one of our mutual friends come rolling up in an electric car. It was a hybrid, but you could switch it to electric or whatever. Come wheeling in right up to the front steps, and we were all kind of standing there, but we were facing the house for some reason, looking at something, and about ran over one of us, kind of on purpose, kind of jokingly, but like, to the point nudge because you didn't hear him coming.
Yep.
And we didn't expect him to be in that vehicle. He was getting his vehicle serviced. His sister sold cars. That's what they ended up putting him in for the day while they got whatever done to his truck.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we should be on the cutting edge of this. I mean, we could get you back to the old clanging, banging 6.2 diesel in your Prius.
I'd rather be on the cutting edge of let's eliminate electric vehicles and go back to what it should be. Honestly, I think electric vehicles will be a flash in the pan.
I hope so. I hope you're right.
Because it's not sustainable, it's not viable, it's not usable. They suck.
Yeah.
By every stretch of the imagination. I'm hoping it flashes and everybody realizes, holy shit, we don't have the electric grid to charge these, and it's burning our shit down, and we're done.
I hope you're right. I hope and pray you're right.
Probably not, but that's my hope.
What's the new bill that we just passed today or whatever in Congress? This is supposed to be landmark miles. Well, it's the Inflation Reduction Act, so this should be like the Affordable Care Act, so it should accelerate inflation at a rapid pace now.
Yes, well, let's hope so.
The Affordable Care Act is anything but affordable.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming this will be along the same lines as that.
I'm sure.
But I was thinking I seen there was a bunch of shit in there for green energy and fucking windmills and solar fields. And
don't you think if these dipshits in Congress were really that good at doing anything, that some company would be like, well, I want to sweep this guy up and get him the hell out of here. He'll want to take this private sector job making 10 times as much because he is so smart. No, it's always the dipshits that couldn't hack it in the private sector. Like, well, I'm going to hide out in government for 40 years. Mm-hmm. And, I know the right people, so I'll just hang out here.
Yeah.
Sell my stocks when I want to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But we didn't know anything about that ahead of time.
Absolutely not.
That was just coincidence.
Yeah, there's no way they knew anything about it.
Yeah. What a joke. I was glad to see some of the so-called Republicans locally here get beat in the primary there they were anything but Republican.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well, the Farm Bureau was endorsing them, and so that told me all I needed to know, and thank God they got beat. So sucks to be them.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure they'll find a lobby spot
somewhere. Oh yeah, they always do. Yeah, they don't just go away.
Yeah. I'm just hoping your governor gets beat this fall.
Yeah.
He can make his way back to Golden Corral and hit a couple buffets instead of running up the world for the rest of us.
I've said for 2 years, and you mark my word, he's going to throw his hat in the ring for president.
Absolutely. That's what his goal is. Yeah. That's just what we need.
Yeah. A guy who literally weighs 450 pounds giving us health advice.
Yeah. I mean, I'm fat, but he makes me look skinny.
Yeah. I mean, this guy is morbidly obese.
Yeah. Hasn't done a day's work in his life.
Nope. He's heir to is it the Hyatt hotel chain or whatever?
I believe so.
He's a billionaire.
Yeah.
Fat sack of shit, but is what it is. So
no doubt.
Well, God, we probably ought to think about wrapping this son of a bitch up, hadn't we?
We better nip her.
It's been going on for quite a while.
Glad to be back.
Yeah.
Glad to be back.
Yep. Don't nobody panic. The Straightforward Farming Podcast ain't going anywhere. We've just been busier than shit all summer long.
There's more.
Yeah, exactly. But wait. So, don't worry. We're not going anywhere. You just got to give us time. There's probably no excuse for missing 2 months, but hey, it is what it is.
We'll make up for it.
Yeah, you guys want to throw some cash this way. Maybe we'll get on.
Yeah, we'll get on board with this shit.
Yeah, exactly. So, anyway, we're going to call her quits right here. So, thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you next time.